Hello everyone! Before we start with this episode, if you haven't watched our Instagram story or seen our latest Instagram post as we're recording this, we have been given a media pass to Badminton Horse Trials.
Which is the most exciting thing ever.
Yeah, we're very, very excited. If anyone has any good ideas for shenanigans for us to get up to while we're there, if you want us to talk to anyone, if you want us to make any important riders do silly things, then please either DM us on Instagram, message us on Facebook, or email us at theponypod@gmail.com, and we will do our absolute best to do everything that you suggest within reason.
Within reason.
Probably within reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll give it a go. Yeah, we'll give it a go. It's fine.
You have to be careful. Like on the press pass, it was the press pack. It's like no jeans, no trainers in the main arena. Stay out of these areas. So
Yeah, but shh.
You never know.
I can have a stable pass as well, so I'll go wherever I want. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Today's episode is on. It's another Ailments episode.
On the skin.
Yay!
We just thought with summer coming up, sweet itch, sunburn, that kind of thing, it could be useful.
Yeah. This is one that I always do quite well on because I get really, really bad eczema all over my face. Yeah, so this is what, like, whenever you get to sweet itch, I'm always like, I know exactly how this feels because my eczema gets really bad. And then
experience.
And then you get sympathy points because I quite often have like a big red patch of it all over my face.
Okay. So to start off with, the skin is the largest sensory organ in the horse's body. I love this fact. So
Yeah.
that thing of what's the largest organ? The skin, and everyone's like,
It's a trick question.
And it's really clever because it changes in thickness throughout over the body.
Yeah.
It's tough, elastic, and it's supple. So
Yeah.
it's just really quite clever.
My little fact, or not really a fact, so if you include the alimentary canal, so the digestive system, the skin is like a donut because it doesn't stop. There's no like break all the way from the outside through the inside. There's just like one hole that runs all the way through, and it's the same for humans. So you're not really human shaped, you're more of a donut.
Can you tell we're recording this late at night? So the skin has 7 important functions. Sense, because it's full of nerve endings, and the areas that have the most nerve endings are the most sensitive, like the nose and the ears.
Yeah, sure. And there are different types of nerve endings for touch and for temperature, which are called
Mechanoreceptors and thermoreceptors, if you want some big words.
which makes sense. The skin is used as a barrier, so it's strong and elastic and it doesn't tear very easily. And it has oil in the hair and produced by the skin, which is called sebum, which waterproofs the skin and keeps moisture in. And that's the stuff that our skin produces that gives you whiteheads. You know, the spots that you pop and they're like a little white waxy thing. That's sebum. And if you don't moisturise your skin overproduces sebum, and that's why you get spotty if you don't moisturise. That's a top tip for everyone. Moisturise your skin.
All those people I teach pony care to, that's the stuff you don't want to remove with a body brush with pony lives in the field.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Fact number 3 is that it regulates the body temperature.
Yeah. It does this by sticking up the hair and laying down the hair flat if it's cold or if it's hot.
And also by like the capillaries, the little blood vessels in the skin. They get bigger or smaller depending on how much heat they want to lose.
Yeah. Oh, you know Chimera?
Mm-hmm.
So they're our top sponsor, by the way. Just a little plug really quickly. They have a capillary camera that you like put a little drop of oil on your nail and you put it under the microscope and it shows your capillaries. And then if you put a bit of Chimera fabric over your arm, you watch all the capillaries get bigger and the blood go faster. It's really cool. Apart from whenever you do it with people, you have to be like, do you faint at the sight of blood? Because even though it's a little tiny microscope and all you can see is little cells whizzing around, every now and again you'll get someone who drops like a stone. The skin is also used for warming, so hair grows longer in the winter, fat insulates the horse, hairs stand up on end like we just said to trap air and keep the horses warm. Capillaries contract to reduce heat loss, or they dilate to improve heat loss when it's hot. Shivering is an involuntary action that keeps the horse warm by increasing respiration in cells, which releases more heat.
So to cool the horse down, the capillaries will get, the little blood vessels will get bigger to bring more blood to the surface, and the sweat glands become more active and the sweat evaporates to cool the horse down.
Yeah.
The skin's also used as camouflage. So if you think about the colours of native ponies, like, you know, your bays and your blacks, helps them blend in with their surroundings.
Yeah. It also helps produce vitamin D from sunlight.
Not produce, absorbs.
No, produce.
You're the biologist, I'm going to go with you.
I'm pretty sure it's produced. Yeah, so when your skin is exposed to sunlight, the UVB makes your skin produce vitamin D. So the skin is responsible for producing vitamin D. So when UV light from the sun hits your skin, it makes your cells produce this vitamin. And I have a fun fact about this actually. So when your skin produces melanin, which is the stuff that makes you tanned, that blocks UV getting into your skin.
Yeah.
So, but because it happens in the summer, you still produce enough vitamin D, so you're fine. But black people who have moved to, for example, North America, where there is less. Do you know this fact?
This was in my. I did this in geology.
Yeah, we did this in evolutionary biology, which I would not recommend to anyone, by the way. If anyone's going to Oxford Brookes, don't do that module.
And if you're a geologist, it's great.
Yeah, but so black people who, for example, moved to America and were taken to North America where there was less sunlight because they had so much melanin, not enough UV was getting to their skin and they weren't producing enough vitamin D, which is why milk in America is often vitamin D enriched.
That's not my fun fact.
What's your fun fact?
So I did my degree in Leicester.
Yeah.
Leicester has a really high Indian population. When loads of people migrated to Leicester, because their melanin was really high, they had loads of cases of children with rickets.
Yeah.
Because
they didn't produce enough vitamin D. Yeah. Yeah, fun fact. You honestly, the education you guys are getting. Okay, so let's move on to ailments and problems that you can have with the skin. The first and probably I think the one everyone thinks of most when they think of problems you have with the skin is sweet itch. So it mostly occurs from Do you mean from April to November?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking. Never mind. I swapped the 2 months around in my head.
In the summer, the spring and summer.
I'm so tired. It mostly occurs from April to November, so in the summer. But ponies that are affected are generally scurfy and itchy all year round. We've got one of Harry's that have sweet itch, and he has like a full thing on all the time. Symptoms can range from like just being a little bit itchy to excessively rubbing pretty much all of their mane, tail, hindquarters, anywhere they can reach, like excessive itching. This is pretty much, I had really, really bad eczema and chickenpox when I was little. Oh, my christening photos are something to behold. I look like an angry toad. They are disgusting. And so this is the one ailment that I really sympathise with in a big way. We had a pony who had sweet itch and he would make himself bleed, and loads of people would be like, "Oh my god, isn't that so awful? How can he do that to himself?" And I was like, I can relate. Having made myself bleed on many occasions, it is awful. And if you have got a pony who has really, really bad sweet itch, honestly, they deserve all of your sympathy, and you should be doing everything you can to help them out because it is hell on earth being that itchy. The itching causes hairs to break, and it can cause bald areas, and it can cause open sores, like they can make themselves bleed, and then that can become infected, and then that skin can thicken and form ridges along the mane and other areas.
So ponies suffering from it can be grumpy, like we said, because they're really itchy.
Yeah.
And it's caused by an allergic reaction to the saliva of midges. It's hereditary, so you don't want to breed from a horse that has sweet itch because chances are its offspring are going to have sweet itch too. And it's much easier to prevent it than to cure it. So it's much easier to make sure they don't itch in the first place than trying to stop them itching later on. And the way you manage them can really help. So if you turn them out in the middle of the day when there are less midges, you can avoid fields that are really marshy or have ponds in them. You put mesh on their windows to try and stop the midges getting in. Hang a fly sheet up.
Yeah. This is where, I mean, you'll often be told to decobweb stables because it makes them neater and tidier, and it stops dust collecting and all of that. But actually, for something like this, having cobwebs in stables prevents the flies because it means the spiders catch them.
You can try and make sure their manes and tails are kept clean, so they haven't got extra oil. Maybe use a medical shampoo when you wash them. There are also different supplements you can get, so you can use Thinkfly, which is a feed, garlic. You can use Midgeway, which is the gel, and a new one I was told about is neem oil.
Yeah.
It's like
what is neem oil?
It's like an Indian oil. It smells of curry, and you put like a tiny amount on them. And the Church Farm Penny Club Centre that I started working at, they use it and swear by it, and it's really cheap because you can buy it for cooking.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's really cool.
But you have to put it up with a glove, otherwise your hands smell of curry for the rest of the day.
I love curry. Yeah, my horse had so she arrived from Ireland. There were no mosquitoes in Ireland. Fun fact. I'm pretty sure. This is when all the Irish ponytails email us. I'm like, actually, there are.
Engagement is fine.
Yeah, but she came over and she was put in our isolation field, which is next to a pond. Midges breed in ponds. Pond fields get really, really midgy and bad. And she had a really bad reaction to the flies, and was, when I say lumps from ears to tail, I couldn't get a saddle on her because they were just going to rub on the lumps. And to the point where the vet arrived to give her jabs, and I was like, look, she's had this reaction, and like, it's pretty bad, like, she needs some steroids. And he was like, okay, well, I'll give her a jab, and I've got a powder that you can give her in her feed, but I've never had to use it, she won't need it. He came down to the field, took one look at her and was like, I'll get the powder. Like, she looked awful. And to the point where it was like 3 weeks, and I was like, we're going to have to send her back because there's nothing I can do. And the only thing that worked was we moved her, she'd had like her isolation period, and we moved her field onto an exposed hill, so it had lots of wind, and that stopped the midges, and then just waited her to get better. And even now, like, she's better now, she doesn't react as badly, but if we put her back in that field, it happens again. That, and we bought a Bucas fly rug. Other fly rugs are available, but it's the zebra one. So there's a study that I think everyone would have seen by now.
Mm-hmm.
So flies, when they look at like a surface to land on, they like solid colours, so they like things that are just black or things that are just white, and the zebra colouring confuses them a little bit, and they don't like landing on it. So they did a study they had 3 fake horses that they covered in glue. One was white, one was black, and one was stripy. And I can't remember how many the white one had on it, but the black one had like 250 flies or something stuck on it, and the stripy one had 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, that's how different it is. And I bought one of those rugs, and it was a lot of money, but it was the best, 80 quid that I've ever spent, probably, I think. Yeah. Anyway.
The next one is maybe more of a winter one, but it's a combination of mud fever, cracked heels, and rain scald.
They're all the same thing, aren't they?
Same bacteria.
Yeah. You can get them in summer.
So the only difference between them really is they all kind of happen in different places.
Yeah.
So mud fever can happen all up their legs.
Yeah.
Cracked heels is really annoying because it's not actually the heels that crack, it's the back of the pasterns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like little gashes, and I thought my horse had like overreached, and it wasn't. She got cracked heels.
Yeah.
And rain scald tends to happen on their shoulders,
Yeah.
and along their back, and over their hindquarters.
Yeah. Rain scald, literally, like, it's like little scabby bits, but it looks like where they've been rained on or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, self-explanatory, isn't it?
Yeah, it happens when the skin becomes wet and isn't dried out properly, and that allows bacteria to enter, which causes an infection.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're all caused by the same bacteria, and it can happen in horses standing in muddy fields in the winter, or in the spring and summer when there's dew and the grass, or if they have horses that have their legs washed regularly but not dried. So we wash off all our horses' legs when they come off the walker because they get covered in
gross stuff,
poo and just disgusting. But some of them react to it and get cracked heels.
Oh.
So like we had a horse, we looked after it over the winter, and she came back and was like, it's got mud fever, and we looked at him like, mud fever, and I was like, oh, actually it's got little back of his heels.
Yeah, some horses react to, I don't think it's the same thing, so I'll probably take it out, but some horses react to surfaces as well. So like I worked for this show jumper out in Italy, and whenever the horses come off, like every single day, whenever they come off the arena, their legs have to be fully shampooed, like all the way up to their bellies, fully shampooed and dried, towel dried to them being dry, like not just like get most of the water off. They have to be towel dried completely, because otherwise their legs literally scab up wherever the surfaces touch them. Yeah, really bad.
That's incredible.
Yeah. But it's a different thing. We found, like, there are lots of different, the main way to treat this is you want to get the scabs off, because the scabs protect the bacteria, which horses don't particularly like, so you have to be quite gentle with it, like generally using like warm water and Hibby scrub, like a dilute Hibby scrub solution, and just like get the water on and soak the scabs so they soften, and then try and pick them off. Or something I was taught, for heels especially, if you get like a gauze bandage, cover it in udder cream or something like an aqueous cream, bandage it on, leave it for 10 minutes while you do something else, and then when you take it off, it's softened all the scabs and they come off with the bandage.
That's good.
And then once they're off, it's just a case of like cleaning it,
Healing the scabs.
yeah, putting a bit of antibac on it. I really like Hypercare, the spray, really like that.
You also want to make sure while you're doing this, you keep your horse in, keep the legs dry.
Yeah.
Because if you go to all the trouble of taking the scabs off, but then the next day turn your horse back out in the same field,
Yeah.
you're going to make it worse because the bacteria's going to get in really easily.
Yeah. And in like this is another thing where it's better to prevent it. So if your horse is out in the winter, don't wash its legs every single day. Like just let them dry properly and try and get as much of the mud off as you can. But don't irritate the skin by like scrubbing it, or like if you are going to wash them, make sure you dry them thoroughly and don't like rub excessively and irritate the skin like that. You can also clip feathers off because the feathers hold the water, and when you take them off, it just means you can dry them better and it's easier to see if they've got it.
Yep.
Is that it?
Cool. Moving on.
Yeah.
Ringworm.
I really like ringworm as well.
So ringworm is a very contagious fungal infection. It is not a worm. The number of people that say this, and I just like want to bang my head against the wall because I'm like, okay, we've done worming, but this one is not one of them. So we had someone was examining a C+ test.
Yeah.
And I think I was sitting in, and she went round and she's like, name a worm, and it was like tapeworm, roundworm, pinworm. And then she was like, ringworm, this girl. And the woman was like, what?
No.
Please, guys, it's not a worm.
It's called ringworm because it forms a circle of bald hair, and the circle looks a little bit like a worm might have got in and done a circle on your skin.
Yeah.
But it hasn't. It's a fungus. It's the key to remember.
Yeah. And it's passed through tack, rugs, anything that
Any
horses
form
touch.
of contact, yeah.
And people can get it, so
Yeah.
be careful.
Yeah, and you can get it by like if you touch it and then like scratch your skin or touch your face. You really don't want to get it on your face because then everyone will see it. And also it can survive in your horse's rugs for a really long time. So if your horse has it over the winter and you get rid of it and you manage to treat it, everything like that, you put its rugs away, you need to get the rugs washed because otherwise the minute you get the rugs back out and put them back on your horse, it's going to get ringworm again and you're going to go through the whole thing again.
The incubation period for ringworm is 7 to 10 days. And if you don't know anything about it, it will take 6 to 12 weeks and then it will sort of go away on its own.
Yeah.
But ideally, you don't want to be hanging around for 3 months waiting for your ringworm to go.
No, and it looks awful. It looks really bad.
Think like an upside down Appaloosa.
Yeah, it just makes them look a bit like scabby and mouldy. Like, you know what I mean? Like they just look a bit poor.
However, if you do not treat it, your horse will be immune afterwards.
Really?
But I'm not sure it's really worth it for that.
Do we get immune as well? Because I've had ringworm.
Well, only for a few months.
Oh.
And then you're back to normal again. It's not
Okay.
really worth it.
Damn it. So you treat it by isolating the horse, stopping grooming, washing all its tack and its rugs, everything, disinfecting stables. You can give antifungal treatment to help the skin resist the attack, and like washes and sprays for them. Yeah.
Important thing about the grooming is you stop grooming because if you run your brush down their neck, along their body, and your horse only has ringworm on its neck,
It's gonna get
you
it
suddenly spread ringworm
everywhere
right
else.
down its back.
There you go, kids. An excuse to stop grooming your pony.
Yeah.
That's it. So we're on to lice, which is something everyone will probably have had experience of
Yeah,
themselves.
it's a bit gross, but I thought sometimes people like these horrible facts.
You like these horrible facts, do you?
So lice are grey insects and they're about 1.5 to 3 millimetres long and they lay eggs in the horse's hair.
Yeah. They cause itchiness, a dull, scurfy coat and loss of condition.
They really like long winter coats and they lay eggs in manes and forelocks usually.
Really?
Yeah.
For some reason I thought they were feathers. Why did I think they were feathers?
Mites.
Ah, yes. Okay, cool. Continue.
And you want to treat any horses that might come into contact. You can treat them with like a special anti-louse wash or louse powder, which smells like lavender.
Really?
Yeah.
That's nice.
So we had a Shetland that we rescued from a field and we had him about 6 months and he'd been through the winter, started to get into the spring. And my mum was like, ugh, he's crawling with lice. So we clipped him,
Yeah.
and my mum literally like patted him all down in louse powder, and he was black. So when he'd been clipped, he kind of went a grey colour, and he went really grey with all this louse powder on him. And she just kept washing him, and she was so thorough. She got one of those knit combs that you go through children's hair with, and she like sat there every day and was like going through his coat with this comb and like picking off old eggs. And
one of my friends, I mean, a human lice as opposed to horse lice. When he got knits when he was young, his mum couldn't be bothered to do the knit comb thing, so she poured a bottle of gin over his head. It works. Those lice do not survive, and he now has a real taste for gin. Really, really likes it.
Right.
Very effective parenting technique there for any parents listening. Kid has lice. Just cheap gin will be fine.
And you need to be careful with that though, because you might treat them and get rid of all the insects, but 14 days is the hatching time for eggs.
Okay.
So like 2 weeks afterwards, check them again.
Yeah, because otherwise all the eggs that were hidden away the first time will just come straight back.
And then no more, and you'll be in a vicious circle.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Next one is, I mean, I wouldn't really, like, it's not contagious. I think it is contagious.
No.
Because my mum told me that flies can spread it. And I was like, I don't know, man.
Isn't that to do with fly bites? That if they bite it and they've touched a horse that has it, sarcoids by the way, guys, touched a horse that has it, like they're more likely to make it infected.
Maybe. Because, sarcoids, for anyone that doesn't know, sarcoids are skin tumours that can be found anywhere on the body, but they're mainly in the girth and sheath or udder area, so they're between their back legs.
I like to kind of think of them a bit like big warts. Would that be a good way of thinking about it?
I'm pretty sure they are a cancer, though. Yeah, they are a cancer. Yeah.
Yeah, but in terms of like tumour size, they're more like warts.
No, Piglet had one that was that size. I've seen a lot of big ones.
Yeah, but relative to body size.
So
So
I think
like
the
that
ratios
big
might be
compared
off.
to horse, is that not very similar to like that size compared to a human?
Maybe. I mean, they're still quite big. My neighbour had one that had sarcoids all over its eye, and
We've
it was
got a
like,
broodmare that's got a big one in it. So.
really, they're really horrible.
Anyway,
really gross. Yeah.
come in different shapes and sizes, but no one really knows why.
Yeah, as you can tell from our discussion. They require early treatment before they grow too big. They can cause irritation. The vet can use an elastic band around them to restrict blood supply if they're proud enough. And they'll fall off after 2 to 3 weeks. They can be surgically removed, they can be frozen, or you can use something called Liverpool cream, which has to be made up by your vet. So your vet has to come out, diagnose the sarcoid, and mixes it specially. The vet has to apply it because it's really, really, really corrosive. So they put it on just on the sarcoid, and it's like if you have a wart and you freeze it, or you can have warts removed with acid. It's exactly the same in that they put it just on the sarcoid and it kills the sarcoid, but not any of the healthy tissue around it, as long as they don't get the healthy tissue, touch the healthy tissue with the cream. And it is quite painful for, like, it's meant to not be painful at all if they only get the wart, but quite often some bits will get on healthy tissue and that hurts quite a lot. So my horse had one just under her right hind leg and bless her little heart, she was treated a lot for it. And it didn't go away with Liverpool cream. And every time she saw the vet, you could just see her like, oh, it's gonna hurt. Aww. And she, bless her little heart, she was never bad for him, but like, you could see her like, I don't like it. But Liverpool cream can be, it can be really effective, and then some horses it just doesn't work with. So ours it just doesn't work. But some people,
the really treatment they go for depends where it is, how big it is, etc., etc.
Like what shape it is. So hers got bigger after Liverpool cream, and then they banded it and it fell off.
Because there's a horse here that is in deliveries that he had a sarcoid behind his ear.
Oh yeah.
So they had to wait till the end of the season.
Yeah.
And then
when the flies aren't so bad.
And also because where the bridle is.
Yeah.
They used, I want to say, like radiotherapy on it. But it looked really gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was all just balls. But anyway, yeah, sarcoids, take them off if we can.
Yep. And then that's pretty much all we have for sarcoids, I think.
Melanomas.
They're also tumours.
But they only affect grey horses, really. They usually occur in hairless areas like under the dock, sheath, head.
Yeah.
And no one knows why they happen.
No, you don't really need to treat them unless they become ulcerated and infected, in which case talk to your vet and they'll probably try and remove them. Slow growth is okay and kind of to be expected, but if the growth is really fast, then it's really not good for them.
Someone said something random to me. So we've got a grey pony who's like 25. Doesn't have any melanomas, nothing.
Yeah.
And we were a bit like, that's weird. And someone said horses that
we had a grey pony that didn't have any melanomas.
Well,
yeah.
Their theory is grey horses that have black skin are prone to melanomas.
Yeah.
Grey horses that have white skin underneath, or have like socks or a face marking underneath their grey coat, are less prone to melanomas.
I wonder why.
I don't know. If there are any scientists listening that know about this.
Our grey ponies both had no markings and neither of them had them. Yeah. I mean, my first grey pony is still going and still dumping children all the time.
He's obviously fine.
Yeah.
Okay, on to our last one.
Okay. The last one is pretty easy. It's sunburn. Say it's exactly the same as sunburn that we get. It is a radiation burn from my first aid thing.
But it only really affects them on areas of pink skin. Like if they've got really thin hair on their white legs or their pink nose. They don't tend to get burnt on their body.
No. And you can, like albino ponies and Appaloosas can get it. You can tell that they've got it because the skin goes red and can scab over and become really tender and flaky, and you just need to put sunscreen on it.
Or if they don't like sunscreen, you can get one of those fly masks with a nose cover.
Yeah.
And like black it out with tape. That works just as well.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's it.
That's all the skin ailments.
Yeah. Well done for sitting through half an hour of us jabbering on about this thing, basically. Do remember to email us with anything you want us to do at badminton. We are very excited to be there, but we do need things to do because I feel like they might not give us another pass if we just wander around annoying all the riders,
And we
which
go and
is
get
going to happen.
free tickets and just sit and watch the event. That's probably not legit either.
That's definitely what we're going to do.
We're going to be sat in the media centre. Everyone's going to be working really busily, like over the editing, and like we're going to be sat there watching on the live feed, like we're in the media tent.
Or watching everyone else work, like, it's all sound.
It's Echo ratings.
I mean,
It's the BBC.
I'm not getting out of work if Harry's listening. I'm definitely not getting out of work. I'm going to be doing some work. Thanks, Harry. But I mean, I will probably be attempting to work 2 jobs, being like the podcast host and trying to be helpful with Jess, but she probably is
fine.
finding her
One horse.
Exactly.
One horse there.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
I met Tim Price at cross country school today. He was there on his own in his lorry. He'd driven himself there. Had 1 horse to cross country school with no groom.
Yeah. Any professional riders listening, you take note. Take note.
Tim Price, you're now my idol.
Yeah. Oh, he's such a
I hope he's listening. That makes him want to come on and do our interview at badminton.
I did polls for him and Janelle at Western, and they were so lovely. Like, I mean, and both of them came down to warm up for show jumping with no groom. I don't think I've ever seen an event to do that without bringing a groom to do polls. I offered to, and they were like, "Oh yeah, sure, that'd be fine." Like, no, like, yes, do it now. But yeah, so send us any of your suggestions, anything you want us to do, any topics you want to hear about for future episodes.
To those of you that commented on our Instagram, we're working on it for you. We've got a fitting researcher from Neue Schule that's agreed to come on and do an interview later on in the year.
You said the name right.
And also we've got an expert on clean sport from the British Equestrian Trade Association.
Yeah.
Who's going to come on and talk about that.
Oh my god, I'm really excited for that. Like, genuinely really excited for that. I find that stuff so fascinating.
And also, they've agreed to give us a goodie bags giveaway. So keep your eyes peeled for
More
that.
freebies!
Yeah.
Alright, we hope you enjoyed this. Look forward to our next episode. Alright, bye!